What's up, my beautiful people? What's
Mhm.
up, Edwina?
Hey, Dominic, what's up, girl?
Nothing much. I'm glad to be here with you today.
Same here. Same here.
And we finna get this topic started.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
give you the floor.
All right, guys. So, I wanted to discuss with everybody and have this topic about, does racism still exist? I know we always see on a day-to-day basis certain things in social media or um, on TV or on the news about racism or racism against police officers or um, racism between black and white or racism amongst ourselves. So we wanted to have the discussion tonight to address the issue about racism, how we feel about racism, what we can do to fix it. Um, so Dominique, just give me your input. What you think about, does racism still exist? Um, what can we do to try to fix it? Um, just your feedback on it.
Okay, well, first I want to say what's up, Nat. Welcome.
Hey,
Hey
Natalie.
y'all, what's up?
Hey.
Good evening.
And I do have to say, Edwina, back to your question, does racism still exist? Oh yeah. Like some people, I think, I want to go back to when President Obama was elected. And I've heard many people say, well, y'all can't say racism still exists now because we have a black president. But
Exactly.
that just don't go away. I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
No, I was saying exactly, Dominic, that's true. I guess people just assume because we had a black president, um, racism stopped. Actually, I feel like it came out more over the past months. I can't even say years, the past months. I feel like racism has been out more, like in the light. You know how sometimes you do stuff, it's behind the scene? It's more like people don't care about racism. They bring it to the light more about, they're making it known they don't like you.
That is true.
I have noticed that. Um,
Hmm.
Growing up, you may see people that is not, how can I put this? Um, they won't bring it to light as much that they don't like African American person. But now you see people actually on the internet saying, I don't like this inner, or I don't want to be around this inner. And it's not even I would say white and black. I notice it amongst black and black too. It's crazy.
It is, and it is very real, and it does still exist, which is very sad. Um, you could just tell the difference in how people act and stuff like that. And I know I saw the post of, um, well, I did a poll and I did ask people, did they still think that racism still existed? And pretty much everyone said yes. I didn't get no no's. So that just goes to show that many people feel the same way. In fact, it hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah, you're right, Dominic. It hasn't changed, even though we feel like it have should have changed over the past years. It has not changed. Um, Even in our kids' school, we notice racism. Their teachers may treat a certain child a certain way and may not treat an African American child the same way. Um, we see that amongst our own kids. That's why it's very important for us to advocate um, for our children
That's
when we see
crazy.
that.
All the things I see, like different videos just on circulating social media of teachers like teaching certain things, or I think the latest one was like a teacher, I don't remember where she was, but she was doing like a Native American, like a native dance, and like she had feathers on her head, and I don't, it was just like, what do you get out of that? Like, I understand that some people are just like ignorant towards different cultures and they just don't know any better. But it's like, just try to at least empathize with different cultures and just, you know, just try to educate yourself on it before you even go that route, because it's just overall like I got secondhand embarrassment just from watching her, and it's like, how dumb can you really be to think that this is okay? And then you are the ones that are are the future's leaders, and it's like, y'all, what are y'all teaching the kids? Because then they go around putting their hand over their mouth and doing that little thing, or putting their hands to their eyes and squinting their eyes like Asians. It's what what do y'all get from these stereotypes that you are perpetuating through not only the language but just like hands-on actions? It's just sad.
Like you said, not they're not educated. They're educated probably on paper, but they're not really educated about what's really going on. Um,
Yeah, zero common sense.
yeah. Um, but I was gonna ask you guys also, do you feel like some African American people are profiled by like what they wear, how they walk, how they talk? And what I mean by that, we always talk about like our resumes. Like they want you to mark off if you're black, white, or Hispanic or anything like that on your resume. Why should that matter when it's time for you to get a job instead of just saying, okay, I'm a female and I have this many degrees? Do you think that we are profiled sometimes as African American people on just based on our race?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I do believe that. I mean, job applications have questions about race. I mean, why? Even the landlords, like, okay, I've seen situations where someone may call and they profile with your name. Okay, if your name is maybe Shaniqua or whatever, they're going to be like, oh, this is a black person. But if
Exactly.
you're Karen, okay, let me talk to you.
You're hired if you're a Karen.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
But that has happened to me, Dominique, several times. Like they'll see my name and then they'll talk to me over the phone. And then they'll say, oh, well, come in for an interview so we can meet face to face. And then when they see me, they're like, oh, well, we didn't picture you this way because your name and how you talk didn't add up. And I said, oh, yeah, people always assume I'm white by the name Edwina. And they laugh, but it's true. They just assume instead of saying, okay, maybe she's a professional African American woman that's educated.
Wow.
Hmm.
And even y'all, like when I used to work in I know a lot of call centers that I've worked in, and just my experience, I started noticing that there were very skilled color people, but it looked like to me that most CSRs are like, and if you don't know, it's just customer service reps, but are women of color. But like I started noticing like the HR department, the big positions in the company, like there was no person of color, probably one.
So
Wow.
you like, so do you think that that person that was just the one oddball out, like, do you think they had to work their way up, or do you think like they, because most of the times that's how I feel. It's like you have to be there forever at a job for them to finally feel like, okay, she's one of us, or okay, we can trust her in this position, or okay, yeah, she can, she's qualified or she can handle it. And like Edwina was saying, it's like there are plenty of black people that are very professional, very intellectual and think beneath the surface level. So it's like, if you don't know that, especially by now in 2021, it's like you're either living under a rock or you don't know much your damn self, because I know plenty of, professional, educated, and just super, super powerful and really, really just different, just unique Black people, African Americans, and Black Caribbean people. So it's just like, this is the thing. Most people already know, like, our power. So it's like, I feel like people that are racist still nowadays are just in denial. Like, they just don't want to admit some shit that is just the
Exactly.
obvious. So it's like,
Facts.
if you're just in denial about the fact that we are very, very unique and very creative people, just besides all of the other characteristics that we entail, it's like, you just, I don't know, you just gotta wake up. Because even when they were on strike with the whole TikTok thing, all the Black creators were on strike because they were noticing other races were stealing their dances and choreography and just trying to do it, but it just wasn't the same. So all the Black creators went on strike on TikTok to show them, like, okay, we're the ones that are creating all the popping content. Like, we're the ones that are giving y'all the dances. We're the ones that y'all are taking the hairstyle ideas from, and
Okay.
the nails and just the creativity. So it's just like, when that happened, it was like crickets were chirping, because it's like, just give us our props. We're not saying that we're better than anybody. We're not trying to prove anything. We just are just wanting equality at the end of the day. And it's like, to me, equality is not all that we're worth. We're worth way more than that. So I don't know. I be thinking, like, these people, some people just have to be in denial if they're able to just sit here and be racist and just be so hateful. It's like, who do you really hate? Do you hate us, or do you hate yourself?
Absolutely, Natalie. And I believe that we work hard, and yet it's harder for us, to get to the top. And
Mhm.
that's what I've been saying because, like I said, when I used to work in those call center environments, I mean, that's what I've noticed. Like, we have to, like, overprove our point. And, that right there showed me, okay, it's still never going to be equal. And like that post said, you know what I'm saying? I don't think anyone was born racist. I really truly believe that that is, taught.
That is true, Dominique. You have to teach somebody to not like somebody, um, and show them hatred and other ways to not like somebody. So I totally agree with you. That is a taught thing,
Mhm.
that's been passed down. Um, if you're teaching your child, oh, African Americans can't read, they're uneducated, they're not smart, they're like, I'm gonna say monkeys. I'm just using it as an example, not trying to offend anybody. Um, and they teach their kids the same thing. It's gonna get trickled down. Um, that's why I honestly feel like it took so long for us to get an African American president. Um, just because the government never had faith in African American people. You see, you can look right now, it's only a handful of African American people that's actually in the government now. Well, now it's more actually. But in the past, it was barely none, um, because I don't think they can realize that we can do the job as well as they do the job. They can't fathom, oh, a well educated African American person could do the job 10 times better than me. I can't have that. That looks bad in the public eye. So they always put us in the back seat. We have always been the ones in the back seat on the back of the bus. So we can hide while we're making stuff for them, doing stuff for them, make them look good, but we look like the ones that are uneducated.
All we want is a little bit of credit.
And that's it. And that's all. Just a little bit of credit. And even still today, when we bring up the
I
word,
would say big credit.
well, yeah, yeah, that's true. But when we bring up the word racism, people automatically gets upset. Like, why would you bring that up? Oh, I'm not a racist. Why are you getting offended? Why are you getting upset? I didn't say you were. We're just gonna have a topic about it. That's it. You see? Because what was it? 2020, when all that stuff was happening with the cops, George Floyd, all that, that was a big issue in the United States and overseas. You see? People
Not
didn't want to
only
talk
that,
about it.
Edwina, but George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and a lot of more names. It just
Exactly.
seems like every
Exactly.
time.
And you know what got to me, Dominique? The whole situation with George Floyd and a lot of them. Um, I'm gonna say the cops because it was the cops. They brought up all bad information they could bring up about each person, their history, how they rob, how they steal, why they had to justify why they killed an African American person. You see what I mean? Not just saying, okay, yeah, they did have a bad past, but they're changed now and they're doing better. They just brought up everything bad. And I always said, like, why do people always do that? When they know that the person is in the wrong for killing somebody or doing wrong, why they want to justify what they're doing by bringing up somebody's past? People can change. You see? It amazes me.
And that's when I go back to saying racism, it's really a big deal. And it has been used for years and years and years as a weapon, um, by very powerful people as well, because there is a system issue as well with racism. And of course, just when we go back to the job applications and, all of those different things, that it takes to just to be able to get something, even with your credit. I mean, come on now.
I think that's why a lot of Black businesses are not really out there as much like they used to be because it's hard for them to qualify for credit or business loans. If you look around, you'll see, and this is just me, a lot of Indians get approved before an African American person will get approved to start a business. And we are born and raised in the United States. I can never understand that. How I see somebody that's an Indian own hotels or gas stations, but the banks will not trust us as African American people to have our own business and actually pay them back the way we should.
Yeah, I think we need to just try to cut out all the stereotypes because that seems to be like the main issue. It's like all the stereotypes keep egging it on. Like it just keeps the racism going. It's like, okay, well, black people, they do this and they eat this and they like this.
Oh
And
yeah, I used to
white
always
people,
hate
they
Natalie
like
when people
this and
say
this. And
Black people like watermelon and chicken. Where they get that from?
right.
That's just like, who likes watermelon and chicken? Oh no, fried chicken. They couldn't say
Everybody
baked.
likes chicken. It's only damn three animals to eat. Shit.
Okay.
What else we going? What else is everybody gonna eat? Everybody eats
Exactly.
chicken. Especially when I was working at Steak and Shake, most of the little young girls that would come in there, whether they were white or black, they getting chicken tenders. And I'm like, damn, that's all y'all eat is chicken tenders?
Exactly. Or chicken nuggets.
All the little white girls was eating chicken tenders. I'm like, oh yeah, and they say we love chicken.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I love chicken, but damn, like, I'm just saying, y'all, even the kids in school notice the difference, in the treatment that they get at school. And they notice that, the other kids, the white kids would get treated a certain way. And then if you're like black or even Latinos, they get treated a different way. And the
Yeah,
kids notice that.
that's true. That's true, Dominique, because I know Jeremiah was telling me that he got in trouble for wearing a hoodie in class. But there was a white kid wearing a hoodie. They didn't say anything to him. And so when Jeremiah was like, well, so and so's wearing the hoodie, you didn't say nothing to them. The teacher was like, I wasn't talking to him. I was talking to you. So
What?
that right there, they see the treatment. And at first he didn't understand, well, why is my teacher talking to me and not talking to him? But then he put two and two together. Oh, I'm a black young man that's wearing a hoodie. He's being profiled at the age of 13. You see? That's horrible. That he can't wear a hoodie. But he was cold, as well as the other child was cold.
That was like Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, exactly. But this
Yeah.
is in
And
school.
what happened to him just
Yeah.
because he was
Hmm.
wearing a hoodie?
Yeah. Shot and killed because he was profiled. I noticed a lot of African American boys are profiled by um, baggy jeans without having a belt, wearing hoodies, or just looking a certain way. And I'm going to be honest, I'm guilty sometimes too. If I go to a certain part of a neighborhood and if I feel unsafe, I will maybe grab my purse, clench my purse, or lock my door if somebody's looking suspicious to me. That's just me. And this is an African American community as well.
But
And
that's
that's
also because you're a woman too. You know, like us as women, like we just have to be careful because, especially
yes,
against men, it's like, hold up now, who's this walking up across the street,
exactly,
or
Natalie.
they
But you don't
walked up
know
on my
either.
car?
It's 2021, and people nowadays they're just bold. Like people will walk right up to your window, be like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, I don't do
Yeah,
it. Back up.
boy.
So I have to work on that myself. But you know, I don't want to profile our black men or women. We shouldn't do that. But sometimes I have a habit of doing that myself because you just don't know. Hey, Brenna.
Hey, Brenna.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hey,
Good. How are
Brenna,
you?
what's up?
Girl, about to get this medicine, so it's gonna make me sleepy. But I was like, I gotta get on a call, so just let's hold off on it for a little bit, for a few more minutes.
Yes, glad you're here.
Yeah, me too. I wish I was home. I'm supposed to been home, but that's a whole nother story. But anywho,
Yeah, Brenna, we're just talking about, do you feel racism still exists? So that's
uh,
what we've been talking about. If you want to give your input on it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, it exists. And I just had this conversation. Earlier today with one of the nurses, and she was just talking about, the difference that she sees in just the treatment of patients. And, as a nurse, nurses are there to advocate for their patients. If something is still bothering them or still hurting them, or they're still not feeling good or not feeling right or something, it's like, she's like, she notices that patients of color, it gets kind of ignored or dismissed, and doctors don't really pay attention to it. But if it's a Caucasian patient, they are like, pulling out all stops to try to make sure that the patient is comfortable and any questions are answered. She's like, even if you know, she was saying even if she goes to a doctor and says, hey, patient, Smith in room 503, wanted to talk to you when you get a chance, the doctor will be like, I'm too busy. I've got a lot going on, find out what it is that they need, and, we'll, figure it out. But if it was a Caucasian patient asking to speak to the doctor in room 503, they'd be like, oh, tell the patient to give me a few minutes to finish my rounds, and I'll stop by and have a chat with them. So just things like that, which you think, shouldn't be going on, especially in 2021, almost going into 2022. We have a lot more Black doctors and nurses and caregivers and technicians and ultrasound people and all of that. And you would think, that if you're working right alongside with these folks, when you see these folks, as in people of color, coming in or they're admitted into the hospital because they need treatment or they come through the emergency room for whatever reason, whatever happens, they should get the same red carpet rolled out for them that you want to, roll out for Pam and Jack. Like, it's just not right. And these nurses are like, they see it all the time, and it's really frustrating. And I can understand how seeing that could be so difficult, because from the outside, you think every time you see an article published about someone of color, um, you know, being a success story and graduating from med school and becoming a doctor at an excellent hospital and things like that, you would think that if we're reading it, then everybody else is reading it too, understanding and knowing that, we're just as smart, if not smarter, when it comes to being providers in that field. But then when it comes to patient care, like, why are we still getting the short end of the stick when it comes to trying to figure out what's wrong? So yeah, for certain. I mean, I definitely feel like it it exists. Um, and even though I'm not experiencing direct racial bias in my everyday, day to day, there's still certain occasions where I feel a little funny. Like, I feel like, yeah, maybe I'm getting profiled when I'm in a store, or like, things like that. So it's a challenge, and I would have thought that it would have been something we'd have been long past, and that we wouldn't still be having to talk about it in the present sense. It would be something we'd be talking about, just like we talked about, oh, how, Martin Luther King went on the march, or Rosa Parks on the bus. We would think that would be history, but our history does also include, racial bias and racial profiling and the loss of life for no reason.
Yeah, that's pretty serious, especially when it comes to racism in healthcare. Like, that's our health. That's like just goes to show how much disregard over Black lives there is out there. And it's just sad. Like, it's super discouraging, um but it's kind of like you said, like, we should be way past this, especially now. I've always wondered how, like, recently within the last year, I know there's been lots of conversations like, hey, you have to start having these conversations with your white friends so they know, how you feel. And oh, it's like starting those conversations. Like, I've always wondered just how they are brought about and what people say in those spaces where, you have a Caucasian friend and they might not always necessarily realize what they're doing, or just kind of notice that it's harmful, like the different stereotypes that they might bring about. But I've always wondered, like, how do you start one of those conversations, or how have those conversations been started with people who need to know, like, yeah, you have racist tendencies?
It's a good question, and it's a good point. But it also, for me, it gets to a situation of, why do I have to be the one to explain to you,
Hmm.
why that's not right, why that's wrong? I would think that it would just be something that you would understand, but clearly you don't understand if you think that certain things are okay. Like, I'm not, there's not someone of a different race or anything where I've been in a position where they've been like, "Oh, can I touch your hair?" Or like, "How do you get your hair like that?" Or, "Oh, your hair's so cool." And those kinds of things, or like cracking jokes about certain things and twerking and different things that they associate just as being a Black people thing. It's like, I see more people of non-color on social media and trying to get their twerk on than I do with, the black girls. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
don't just stereotype and throw stuff on us just because. You should know better, and when you know better, you do better. So it's frustrating in one aspect to feel like, okay, I have to be the one to educate you, but then at the same time, it's like, I shouldn't have to educate you. Damn it! Like, you should know better.
But you know what, Brenna? Sometimes they don't know. They just feel like you have a comfortable friendship together that they can say and do certain things where they feel like it's not going to offend you. Um, but it does. Like, I can't stand it when somebody touched my daughter's hair and be like, oh my God, how does she has hair like this, but you have hair like that? But she's black, right?
Right.
Yes, she's black.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? I
Yep.
can't stand it. Like, it's shocking if a girl with darker skin has good hair. It's like, no, that can't be. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't stand that. But once again, you have to educate. And getting back what you're saying to Natalie about your friends, you have to still educate your friends because your
Well, I don't
friends will
have
still.
any of those friends. I'm a little racist myself. No, I'm
Don't say that,
playing.
Natalie. You can't say that on the live stream.
I'm playing. That's why I always wondered, like, how would you start that conversation? Because,
You know,
yeah.
but honestly, you have to educate them because they they just don't know, or they feel comfortable around you to say
Mm-hmm.
anything. That's like, you dating a white guy. Not saying you will, Natalie, because you express how you felt, but you will have to tell him. You will have to tell him, you know, X, Y, and Z where you stand at while you're dating him. You
Wow.
see, so
Yeah.
he won't offend you or offend your family.
Mm. That's tough.
What's tough? Dating outside your race?
No, I'm saying that would be a tough situation,
Oh,
just in general. If you have to I mean, hopefully, if you're dating outside of your race, it's because y'all have things in common and that kind of understanding that, okay, they aren't green
you
to
know,
this.
it's amazing that you say that because this is just my opinion. I notice nowadays most women will date outside their race just because they don't want to deal with their own race. It may not have nothing in common with the person, but they just don't want to deal with their own race.
Hmm.
And I'm noticing that amongst Black women. A lot of African American women now are dating white guys. Like, it's like a new trend on TikTok. Well, I
I've
switched over
noticed that
Oh,
too.
and
I've noticed that on TikTok.
girl, they was like, I switched over and
Yeah.
got me a white guy. It was like a commercial. I was like, dang, I need to get me a vanilla. They
Yeah.
treating them so
I know.
well.
Yep.
they're
Yep.
paid
I saw that.
actors.
Yep.
They said
Exactly.
I went out and got me
Right,
a white boy.
Natalie.
This is
They're
what
well
happened.
paid.
Oh,
You
hell
said they're
no.
paid?
I feel like they're paid actors. It's
Yeah,
Well,
they're
let me tell
getting
you
propaganda.
one
paid for
thing.
that.
I have nothing against any race, but those paid white guys look pretty good.
No, I'm saying like they're paid actors that is trying to, like, that's propaganda paid by the government to get to lessen the amount of successful black marriages and black families and black, because
Exactly.
You
I was
feel
just
that,
saying
Natalie?
this the other night, last night, watching the
Mhm.
World Series, watching the Braves win. I'm like, ooh, them white people, they be young and they be married and they have their families. And
Yep.
it's like I don't see that same representation in the media when it comes to black families and marriage. And
Nope.
it's like with white people,
Nope.
by the time they're 25, oh, they settling down, they
Mm-hmm.
got their family, they got their shit in order.
That's true.
But when it comes to a lot of African Americans, it's like we don't see that representation. I see it because, a lot of people in my family are married and they're still together and, they have successful relationships. But it's
Same
like
here,
for other
Natalie.
people that don't see that as often in real life, it's like we need that perpetuating, or else when we do see a white and a black couple, it's going to be like, oh, well, shit, maybe the grass is greener over there. Maybe, so that's why I say they're paid actors, because it could possibly be a coy by, just the higher ups in society. I'm into conspiracy theories sometimes.
No, but that's
So it's
true,
like,
Natalie. I can say because when I was growing up, I saw black shows, The Cosby, all the other shows, that had a black mom and
One on
a
One
black
and
dad.
oh no, that
Even,
was
y'all
the
remember
single
the Proud
father.
Family? The Proud Family, the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
They were a black family, a black
Mm-hmm.
professional family. You see, mom had a great job, dad had a great job. You see, grandma was in the home. So you saw that when we were growing up. Now you don't see shows like that anymore, where you see um, a black mom and a black dad, and they're actually having a great marriage and having a great relationship. It's either you see a show where they're fighting, arguing, not getting along, or they're getting a divorce.
Yeah, that's true because that's what the media paints it to be.
Yeah, that's that. You're right. Dominique
Where
is
are the
very
good
right about that.
times and where are the good times? And they don't show that because they want chaos. That's
Mm-mm.
what they want to
Right.
show. But I do want to mention this as well before I forget, because I was really disturbed how Jelani Day's case didn't get much attention from the media as Gabby Petito's case. That is
Right.
another stereotype right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
But
think a lot of times they try to paint it like, oh, nobody cares about them when they might actually have, a lot of family that's like worried, whether it's one person that's worried. At the end of the day, this is somebody that, their life matters. And it's like in the case of some Caucasian people, like you said, the Petito, I don't know how to say her name, the Petito
Gabby,
case,
uh-huh.
Gabby. When it comes to that, it's like it's just always like, oh, well, white people, they're going to call the cops, or they're going to have their lawyers on it, or they're going to, their whole
Right.
family is coming out and da, 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 da. It's like, okay, we have families too. And we are very loved and cared for. And we would like to think that our lives are just as important as anybody else. But it's just like, it does not, like you said, it's not portrayed like that in the media. It's portrayed like, oh, well, they're acting like that because nobody cares about them enough to tell them, hey, this isn't the way to do it, or hey, this is that, or hey, maybe they don't have a father, or maybe they don't have a mother, or maybe, it's always like a maybe, what if. But it's like, why don't you just find out for yourself, and then you will know that that's not the case. What did they end up saying about the Jelani Day situation? They said that they found him in the water.
Yes, they found him
yeah,
in the Illinois
Yeah.
river, and what's
Mm.
so sad, and I feel for his mom because she was reaching out for help, and it was like almost he had been missing for almost a month.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
But
And
what happened? Like, how did somebody kidnap him, or somebody like beat him up and took him there, or like what did they ever say? How
I don't think nobody really knows the full story
it
because,
wasn't a
like
car crash or anything,
Dominique
first
was
they
it?
said,
trying to say
No.
that he committed. First they tried it, y'all. They tried it.
Yeah.
Trying to say that,
Yes.
in other words, he could have committed suicide, and
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
y'all, that story is garbage.
yeah, I think when they do stuff like that, Dominique, they just try to close the case really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But like Natalie was saying, he has family. And if his mom didn't bring the attention to social media, it would have never got put in the spotlight the way it did. And that's another thing I have noticed now as well. If you don't record what's going on, like if an incident happens and you don't have your camera on hand to record it, nobody's not going to believe you. You have to have black and white facts to show this has happened to you. Um, like the incident that happened in what was it, New York, where the woman was crying that a black man was assaulting her and her dog at the park. What's her name? Was it Amanda? I don't know. He was a black bird watcher, if y'all can recall the story.
Oh, I
And
remember this story. It was from
yes,
from over
a
the
black bird
summer,
watcher.
and he was
mind
He
his
was minding his
business,
business,
taking
watching
pictures of the
his
birds like he
birds,
normally does. If
and she
and
had her dog
she
off the leash, and the park rules were
let her
that your
dog off the
dog is
leash and
supposed to be the dog is supposed to be
on the
on the
leash
leash. She didn't have
because
the
it's a
dog. She
bird
didn't have the
park.
dog on the leash. So he
Yes,
asked her kindly and politely, "Can you please put your dog
put
on
your
a
dog on the
leash?"
leash.
So she retaliates back and is saying that, he's assaulting her and attacking her
Oh my
and
God.
threatening her, and she fears for her life and all these other kinds of things. And it's like he's minding his damn business, watching the blue
Exactly.
jays fly
But the thing
around in
about it
the in
is,
the in the
Brenna,
park.
if you heard how she was talking over the phone, like, oh my God, there's a big black guy that's in the park that's assaulting me and my dog. Hurry up, quick.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
You see, anybody will be like, oh my God, let's go. We're going guns ready after this guy. Because sh- how she was, oh my God, portraying everything made it seem like this man was really coming after her. But he kept us calm, he was cool, and he recorded everything. And that's what I mean by you have to have your camera ready for anything. Because if you're not recording and you can't play it back to the cops, then you're out of luck.
Right.
They're
They're
not
That
going to
not gonna
believe you.
believe you.
that reminds me of the case down there in Valdosta in Lowndes County of Kendrick Johnson. They had the tapes and plenty proof, but I guess school officials or somebody in the sheriff's office down there, they deleted like major parts in the camera roll to show that, they
Is
don't
this the
know
boy that
what
was rolled up
happened.
in the mat?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
ma'am.
goodness. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to open his case back up, but his case should have never been closed because I think they found him with like all his organs missing, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was another
That was, oh
situation
my
with
gosh,
that with
that
that
was
organs were
horrible.
missing. And it's like, how does he roll himself up in the mat, first of all, by himself? How do you roll
But he's
yourself up?
dead.
How
Right.
would you
you're
mat?
you're
Right.
dead, but you're gonna roll
And
yourself
you're
up in the mat. Like,
deceased. And you're
and
deceased. And you're missing organs.
see, and this is what I go back to where they think that African American people are uneducated. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
common sense, people. You cannot roll yourself up and you're already gone. Duh. But they don't think we know that. They think we're just going to believe any story and be like, yes, the master, we believe you. Okay, let's go. No, it's not like that no more. And that's why when people were marching last year, they were saying, we are not our ancestors. We are a different breed now. This is totally
Okay.
different. We are not our ancestors. We are going to speak up and we're going to fight for what is right.
Amen to
Absolutely.
that.
Hmm. Facts, true facts.
Well, this was a great conversation, ladies. Does anybody else want to add anything about what we talked about tonight? Racism, what we could do to fix racism, how can we educate people on racism more? Like, anything else you guys would like to say?
I would like to say that I would like for it to go away, but I know that's not going to happen, especially with what we deal with day to day basis. Our kids feel inferior. They have made this like they have used racism as a weapon. It's in the system. So, good question. I mean, how could you stop this? Because this is something that's inside of you and it's already embedded in there.
True. I mean, I think it's definitely embedded in there, and those of us that are parents, I mean, it really is up to us to have these conversations, with our children and talk to our children about certain situations and things that happen and things that have gone on. Um, I haven't had too many instances myself where I've had to step in and intervene and explain something that was upsetting to my child about name calling or anything like that, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen, or that doesn't mean that, there's not a thought that's in the back of somebody's, mind. I can't remember the name of the movie. What was the name of the movie with the dude and the girl, and they were going to her parents' house, and the teacup? Why can't I remember the name of that movie? But they were all, it turned out that they all had this really crazy thought about race and about Black people and what they could do. And so they were basically, taking the bodies and stealing the bodies, doing all this crazy stuff. I cannot believe I can't remember the name of that movie. Um, Goodness, it didn't come out that long ago. But anyway, one of the conversations that I had with my mom, I mean, my mom tells me that she remembers when she was going to college and when she was going to school, and she had to deal with not just external racism from people outside, but internal racism, meaning racism from inside of her family, like, oh, you think you cute, and oh, you bougie now because you're trying to go to college, and then when my mom pledged a sorority, they were like, why are you pledging Delta? Like, AKA is for the light skin, blah, blah, blahs. And my mom's like, I'm not looking at it for color. I'm looking at it for what the sorority stands for and what it means. And this is where I feel like I belong. But everybody else is telling her that she should be Delta because, X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, why does colorism still exist? Like, why are we still concerned with what our children's skin tone turns out to be, and whether they have 3A hair or 4C hair? Like, why is that a problem? Why is that an issue? Why are there men out there and women that are refusing to be in relationships with their same race because they want to make sure they have cute babies? They want all their kids to look nice and swirly. And I mean, I think
I hate that so
that's just
much.
terrible. And that's showing that racism definitely still exists. Like, if you don't want to have a baby with a
Well,
Black woman,
They'll be like, oh,
but you'll
he
have a
gotta
baby.
have good hair like a Puerto
Right,
Rican. Like,
right,
well,
but he
I
could.
think. Well, hold on, guys.
He still could.
Yes,
right.
Natalie. So hold on.
Yep.
I think sometimes also some women and men may have been hurt by somebody in their race so bad that they don't want to deal with them no more. And that's how I feel. Because I was watching something on TikTok and the guy was saying he doesn't want to deal with African American women because they're loud, ghetto, real, and they don't know how to treat.
But
Um,
you can't judge one person
no,
Right.
based
it,
He
like
can't.
no,
He
no,
ain't been with
that's
them all.
two
Try
no.
experiences.
Listen,
and
I
see the
know that. I'm just
probability.
saying that this is probably how they're thinking. They're not really thinking. Sometimes they're thinking about having the mixed kids, which is fine, but then they're thinking
I think
about
that's
how.
BS.
Well, that guy needs to think about that may be what he's attracting.
And that's
Right.
true. But he
Exactly.
was saying I
That
don't like African American women because
reevaluate yourself.
that is true.
Right.
But he was saying he doesn't like African American women because they're loud, rude, and they don't know how to treat a man like a king. But
Well, maybe he's
he
not
may not know
king
how to treat
worthy,
a woman like a queen
treatable.
either.
He might not be king worthy treatable. I'm
He
not
And
weak.
that's what I'm
if he
saying.
out here
But
if he's out here disrespecting women and feeling like he doesn't want to create a family and procreate with a Black woman because he wants his children to have a particular skin tone and particular hair texture, then yeah, Natalie, he is weak, and that's some BS.
On a
And I don't
particular
care about
attitude. Like,
all
what?
the hurt in the world shouldn't have you thinking like that. Like, that's a you problem, sir. That problem is with you, not with the loud Black woman that irritated you or got on your nerves. There's a lot of people that are loud and irritated, and they for all kinds of colors and all kinds of races and all kinds of
Okay.
hair textures. It's
that is
not just
true.
a loud Black woman thing. So for him to say something like that and then just try to say, oh, well, maybe he was, hurt in the past and blah blah blah. Like, to me, like, that's just BS, because there's loud, obnoxious people of every size, shape, color, creed, religion, the whole spiel. They're
Or
all over the
let's just
place.
say us women of color are strong-minded and very smart. We're not dumb.
Exactly.
Yes. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
But it is sad that people do think they have to be in a mixed relationship to have pretty kids, because let me tell you, my kids are black and they are gorgeous and I love it. So you don't have to have a white guy or, an Asian guy or any other guy in a different race to have beautiful kids. You see, because you can have a white husband and your kids can look like who shot who. You see?
Who
Boo boo
shot?
the fool. So you just don't know.
Not who shot.
Who shot
Not
you?
who shot who.
They said who
You
shot
don't know how your kids
who.
can come out looking. You see, people just assume. So, but
I
yeah. Does
know.
anybody else have anything else to say about this topic before we wrap it up? Dominique, Brenna, Natalie?
I think we've covered it. I think we just need to really recognize and be aware that unfortunately in this day and age, like racism still very much exists, and it still unfortunately can exist very close to you. People that you work with, or people that you thought they might have been in your friends list or whatever. But most importantly, we got to make sure that we're teaching our children, because our children are the future. They're the ones that are going to be making decisions and all kinds of things with the happenings of the world come 20, 30 years from now. So we need to get their minds set to really understand that, hey, this is something that exists and it's a problem, and we need to resolve it. We need to take care of it, and we need to do better, all of us.
That's so true, Brenna. You're so right, Brenna. Well, ladies, we're going to wrap this up. It's been another great episode with you guys. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about racism and does it still exist and what we can do to fix it. Um, so we're going to say our goodbyes now.
Bye,
Um,
y'all. Have a good
bye.
Bye,
night.
y'all.
See you
Have a
guys
good
next week.
night.
It's a
See you
See you
wrap
next
by
next
week.
time.
Netflix.
It's a wrap. Bye.